Hey guys, welcome to Cult Film Interview, the podcast where we discuss the films you love but no one else gets, and we see if they still hold up. Tonight, what do a college professor, twin sisters, and a Zuni doll all have in common?
What?
That's right, Mike. Karen Black!
I didn't say anything, though.
I'm going to actually cut Mike out, and I'm just going to have you say, that's right, Mike.
Yes. Because we're talking about the Trilogy of Terror. So let's start the show. Hey guys, thanks for joining the cult. We really appreciate it. Do us a favor, head over to iTunes, leave us a review. We will give you a shout out at the end of the show. We have one to do tonight.
Whoa, shout out.
Oh my god!
I feel like I saw you coming over like the hump of a roller coaster. Whoa, shout out!
Whoa!
Hey guys.
Oh my god! Oh god, that was
That's the
funny.
happiest I've ever seen him.
Never heard that.
That's what I'm saying.
Whoa!
It's like elated.
After you leave us a review, we'll give you a shout out. And then make sure you subscribe. Then head over to cultfilminreview.com. Check out all the fun stuff on there. You can pick up a t-shirt. You can put in a request.
Jeez.
I know. I'm forgetting all.
Really digging here to really promote that site.
I will, you know.
You gotta. You can.
Just
you can
please,
scroll.
Please go there.
Let me start over.
Please.
You'll figure it out. You've
got a
been to websites
picture.
before.
So it's on the internet.
Let me start that over, please. Thank you, Kyle.
I was really shocked.
Hey!
I was surprised so many weeks in a row.
And when you're done with that, head over to cultfilminreview.com. Send in your request. We got one coming up next week, so hurry up and get them in. Buy a t-shirt. And then, as always, I'm joined by Kyle Smith,
Hey, how's it going?
Chris Willenbrecht,
Hey, what's up?
and Michael Salustio.
Hello, everybody.
Tonight we are talking about the Trilogy of Terror. It was directed by Dan Curtis, came out in 1975, was a TV movie in the box office, was filmed in Los Angeles, and currently sits at a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. This was Mike's pick. Mike, why'd you pick the Trilogy of Terror?
So the only thing I knew about this film going in was that there were memes with the Zulu doll that I had seen all over. Zuni, sorry, Zulu. Zuni. Jeez, sorry.
Keep going.
Anyways, the Zuni doll, all over. Oh, God damn it! Let me start over again now.
It's a episode of restarts. Good luck editing this on film.
It's fine. I get
That's
it.
okay. Like, it's not being played straight. You edit it the same way you would edit audio.
We'll get it. I'll make you look cool. Don't worry, Mike.
Thanks. So yeah, the only reason I picked this is because I had seen the image of that Zuni doll like all over the internet, like in these weird memes, you know, like these funny memes about like, oh, I tried to escape, but like this thing, and I was always like, what the fuck film is this from? Finally, I looked it up, and when I realized what it was, I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna put that on my radar. And lo and behold, Kyle's like, hey, just uploaded the Plex with a few new movies. Why don't you go check them out? It was like the third one on there that I saw, and I was like, well, fuck, that's the pick. I have to see the film. Like, I've never gotten a chance to, so.
Yeah.
Was this brought up when we did, what was the last anthology we did?
I brought it up, when we did the
Did you
last
really?
anthology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Creep show.
show.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know who you're gonna go to next, but I can go next if
Yeah.
I've seen it before.
Yeah, that's where I was
assume
gonna
that's where
go.
you're gonna go.
Yeah, that's what I was leading into that.
The reason it went on the Plex is because me and my brother, this movie's like has really like stuck with us for a long time, because at one point when we were kids, my parents rented this from the video store, and at least for me, I was fucking terrified of this doll thing. I thought it was the scariest shit ever. It was actually a box that I would run past in the horror movie section when I was a little kid, because I didn't want to look at it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I remember my parents watched it, and this was back in the day when they had like a big, picture frame behind the couch, so you could sit in the stairs and watch a reflection of the TV. And we were like watching this horror movie when we were not supposed to, and it scared the shit out of me. That's when Ryan got it finally. I like asked him, please put that shit on the Plex because I want to watch it. So yes,
So like,
Awesome.
so,
so
wait,
this is actually
have
like
you seen pieces of it?
I've
like,
seen
from sneaking-
yes, I've seen pieces of it. I've seen the first story. For some reason, I've seen the first story a handful of times, and I've seen the Zuni doll a handful of times, but like the second story was a complete fucking like loss on me when I watched it. I was like, I don't remember any of this. So
Wow.
Chris, have you watched it before?
No, I like Kyle's story. I love because I have moments like
No,
that.
I like Kyle's story, so I'm gonna go with Kyle's.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna default
that was
to what
my
he
story,
said.
my
not
answer
Kyle.
is Kyle.
No, I have stories like that too, where I snuck watch shit, you know, and I know the impact it leaves on you. Mine was Basic Instinct, but you know, like this is cool too. Like this, like also Alien 3, and it does leave an impact on you. Makes you like remember that moment. So, but I you know, I had only seen clips from that Zuni doll segment, and I was very familiar with that character. Like I've seen it, you know, you go to any convention, it's definitely like propped up in like the horror community as like an iconic kind of character. But I had never seen this movie all the way through, so I was excited to jump into it.
I was gonna mention because at your dad's house they had that big long wraparound
Right.
couch, but you could totally hide behind that, watch shit.
Yeah, that's how I saw Alien 3, bro.
Well, that's how I that's how I saw Species.
That same move,
Yeah.
like, or at the same location.
at your dad's
Oh, yeah.
house.
Perfect for sneaking rated R
Yeah.
movies. Yeah.
Mhm.
Those are such weird picks.
Right?
Species, bro. Yeah, Alien 3. You know what I'm talking
No,
about?
it's just what was coming out in the 90s.
yeah.
You know?
No, I know. It's just funny.
Mike?
No. I thought you would
He
explain my
started.
position.
Oh, yeah.
How about you though?
Yeah.
No,
go.
I've fucking never even heard of this before. I've never heard of it.
Really.
Yeah.
You don't recognize the dolphin?
No, I don't
No.
recognize the
Doll.
doll.
No, not as
And I'm
much
on
as
the-
you're on the internet.
And I'm on the internet all the time. No, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
always like memes, like me trying to get away from, you know, like a
Responsibility.
responsibilities, or me trying to get away from my adult life.
And it's just that thing like chasing after Karen Black.
Like it's always something where like you can't, you know, the joke is you can't get away.
Got it. Yeah, I'll have to look those up. I'll look them. I mean, it can't be funny to me now if I've never
Yeah.
seen them. So I gotta look them up, guys.
I'll have to
Is it not
Google
funny
that
by the way I just
comedy.
explained it? I explained it. It's just funny, right?
Oh yeah, that's what Mike said it was.
I think
cool.
That's exactly
maybe
what I was
maybe I'll
expecting.
describe a funnier meme and we'll get through this.
I actually like that we went into another anthology though too, because I think we always have had the discussion of like what's a better anthology, which one's the the
This-
best one,
yeah.
and where do they rank, and so I'm glad to have another chink in the armor here to say that we can put it towards the category.
Yeah, I actually after watching this, I after the last anthology we did, I was like really excited to check out the original 70s Tales from the Crypt, and then after watching this I'm like, I think that might be one of my next picks actually, cuz like I don't know, I like old school anthologies like this, these like these 70s horror stuff, because I don't know. I don't know why it connects to me better than like modern anthology films do. I almost feel like modern anthology films try to connect too many fucking dots as opposed to just giving me some short stories.
Instead of just throwing Karen Black and everything.
Yeah, give me Karen Black all day.
All
19
day.
stories. 19 shades of black.
Love
Such
it.
a good the Karen Black story.
So good.
Well, there you go.
What
Wow,
do you
left
say?
him speechless.
I know. I was about to
He's
roll
like,
into. What do you say?
Thinking of all the ways that movie could go. 19 ways. 19 whole ways.
What if this time instead of twins, she's triplets?
It's the most advanced form of quadruplets.
Has anybody seen the sequel on this?
No.
No.
Which is
No.
written by the same director,
Yeah.
and so I'm
Clearly, it
in
must not have been as
96.
memorable.
Did they bring the Zuni doll back in?
It was in '96. I would have. It's like on the cover, so
I feel like
think so.
they
yeah.
would have to because, well, we'll get into it.
All right.
There it is. What do you say we get into plots with Mike? Because it's time
Just pop that balloon for us, Chris.
for plots.
I think that'll take us down a road we don't want to go down yet.
with Mike.
All right.
All right, well, I guess I'll just I'll try to briefly go over the three plots, right? It's a trilogy of terror, as the title suggests.
There's 4 films.
3 scary films.
3.
Yeah, 4 films. They
Sorry.
miscounted,
There you
and
go.
they really feel bad about that. And it's always been this
Quad
why
trilogy.
this is a cult
Quad
film?
trilogy just
No
doesn't
one
roll
could
off the tongue.
count.
That was the joke I kept making the whole time the movie started with the first credits. I was like, can we grab just 4 movies in this? Really fucked up that title.
Well, it's 3 stories. They all star Karen Black. The first one, Karen Black is a teacher at a university. There's a student that has an infatuation with her, and he just keeps hitting on her and keeps trying to get her to go out, and he's kind of overbearing, and then one day he drugs her, and she wakes up, and she basically, the twist then happens. You learned where true terror lies, I guess. The second one.
I feel like you could have given a little more on
No,
that.
no, no. I like
Like,
the
I
no,
feel
no,
like
no.
like right after
The
that, that's
tagline
it.
wrap
Then
up,
it
I like
ends.
it.
And he blackmails her.
Yes, he
yeah, but we're not
blackmails her,
trying to
okay.
we're not giving up the whole show in the first 5 minutes,
Yeah.
Kyle.
Second one is about Karen Black plays not one but 2 roles. She plays a pair of twin sisters who supposedly just absolutely despise one another, and they're going around back and forth telling how each basically suspects the other one is up to foul play, and it builds up and intensifies into an encounter. And then the third one involves Karen Black as kind of like a girl new to the city, I guess. This is what I gathered from it. I don't know if it's true or not, but she leaves her mom's home. Her mom is very overbearing. She gives her a call. She's constantly on the phone with her, and she's yelling at her. And she's met a new boo, and she decides to get him a doll because he's like an archaeologist or some shit. Anthropologist. And the doll comes with a very explicit set of rules. One is which don't let the chain come off. And does the chain come off? Guys, yeah, because there wouldn't be a fucking story if it didn't. So that's it. That's the 3.
There you have it. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk more about the Trilogy of Terror. And we're back talking about the Trilogy of Terror. Woo!
Yeah, I'm getting excited, man.
I am. I like the guy who wrote all these, or who they're based off. He didn't write all of them. I think he only wrote the last short.
No, these are based on his stories.
This is based on his stories, but he wrote out the teleplay for the last.
Yes, yeah, they're all based on his work, but obviously the
Richard Matheson is who we're talking about.
Richard Matheson. But the
Thank you.
screenplays were adapted by 2 other people in the first 2 films. And then
Yes.
he did his own at the end.
Yeah, and he did his own, which, you know, if you don't know, he has written books like Hell House,
Mhm.
What Dreams May Come, I Am Legend,
Oh yeah.
Duel,
Oh.
okay, and also 16 episodes of The Twilight Zone, which I think shows.
He's kind of a horror hero as far as an author goes.
yeah.
He's a horror
Yeah.
hero.
Oh, yeah, I've read Hell House. I'm actually going to go back and read it again because I'm like, I want to go back and read that because
I actually liked the book version of I Am Legend. I thought that was really good too.
the movie's fantastic. As a sweet young babyface in the Coast Guard starring in it, named Cody Everett.
Oh yeah, starring.
Is starring in it. Yeah.
Are you in?
Are you one
I
of
Am
the
Legend?
Are
I
you
am
one of
in
the
it.
CG
Wait.
formless beings running around?
Like, wait, legit? Or are you just joking?
No, my boat was in it. I was on the boat at the time. that was
Really?
in- yeah. So you know the scene where he puts his family, Will
Yeah,
Smith puts his
yeah.
family in the helicopter, and it flies up in the air and crashes, and there's Coast Guard, boats all over. And well, yeah, one of my boat was there. I was on the boat and it
Since
was
that
on the
was a
shoot.
That's
CG
cool.
crash, were you
Yeah.
guys just instructed to move towards
Dude,
this spot?
We were
in the
instructed
water?
to not be on the boat. Like we were supposed to be like underneath, like you know what I mean. Like no one was supposed to be on like
Having fun at all. Like it's
outside
just
work. You know what I mean?
No, but nobody is operating. This is a fully autonomous boat, guys.
Yeah.
It's
I got
a
to meet Will
ghost
Smith
ship, if you
because of
will.
it, though.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh,
He came over and said hi to everyone. He's very nice.
I believe
Cool.
that.
He's a very nice man.
I just had the impression of just like, hey man, can I get to see Will Smith? Oh, Will Smith is nowhere here.
Yeah, no. He came over, said hi, talked to everybody. He's a really, really nice guy.
Yeah,
So if for all you haters, Will Smith haters out there,
I don't.
Yeah.
Are there any?
Check out
I don't-
Trilogy of Terror.
I feel like he's always been known to be
feel like-
kind of a nice guy, and I feel like that's his
He
general
is. I
I
persona.
feel like he's
as a
right.
nice
He's
guy
right
person.
below a Tom Hanks
yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
one's no one's
in
as cool
terms
as
of
Tom Hanks.
likability.
No one's as cool as Tom
There's like
Hanks, though.
2 people that hate Will Smith. That's it in the entire country.
So this was pretty crazy too. I was blown away when I read this about this movie. That this was fucking made for TV.
Yeah.
I did not think this was made for TV
Really?
as I
Really?
was watching
Well,
it.
You
I-
didn't pick it up right off the bat
I-
where it just like cold opens from a black screen.
Yeah.
Like, like
The first time I mean I didn't even know it until you just said it was a made for TV movie. I didn't even know, but when I saw it, immediately it was just like, it's probably a made for TV movie.
Really?
It looks
Well,
like one.
That was kind
Yeah,
of like
yeah.
I wrote down a question like what is the distinct difference between a film and a TV movie?
There's not really any.
Visually though, you can tell like when you see one, is it the way it's lit? Is it the way the sets look? Is it the way that it's edited? Is it the tameness of it?
I think it depends on the era and the production, right? I actually
70s had a lot of this.
Yeah, what's funny? Speaking of that, what's funny enough is just a few days ago, Ryan also put on the Plex Night Stalker,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a '74 made-for-TV movie about the vampire in Vegas, and I think that's why I immediately cued in, because that one starts the same. It's just a black screen, and all of a sudden just like opens up and shit's already happening. You're like, what?
Like the
Where the
curtain just
fuck's
got
the-
drawn.
Yeah, where's the credits at? But that one has exceptional quality. It's basically a film,
Yeah.
like that they just chopped down and cut for TV.
I
Well,
think that. Go on.
I was going to say, if you go to our YouTube page, Steve covers a lot of these made-for-TV movies in his segment, The Basement, and it's kind of interesting to see the movies that he talks about in those segments, but then to see this film, which I didn't know was a made-for-TV movie going into it, but the second I like the film started, I was like, it just has that feel. It just has like that like orangey, yellowy kind of
I always
like 70s film grain.
I always
look.
associate like a bloom.
A bloom.
Like
yeah, okay.
all the light sources have this weird halo or bloom, or just like someone rubbed some schmutz on the lens, like that look.
Little
That's
nose
what.
grease.
Yeah, that's what.
See, for me, it's like the timing, and I feel like the way the camera moves.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's like for TV movies, I feel like sometimes they have this feel like, how do I put this? It's like the camera seems to. There's too many, like, it seems like the shots are really basic all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all right, we're just trying to get the screen here, guys. We're just trying to get the action.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, what do we get? Like, it feels like there's not a lot of, like,
There's not a lot of movement,
moving around and stuff like
no
that.
organic
And
nature.
again, yeah, the timing. Like, I think we're all
Yeah.
used to like a long credit and how the
Right.
credits roll in a movie. And then when you see a made-for-TV movie, they're running on different timeline. They're like, all right, we got to get through here because we got to get to the nightly news after
Yeah.
this, and we can't cut off the nightly news.
Right.
I guess
know?
I didn't jump into that right away because I just figured, well, this is an anthology. Like I knew that going into it, so they're gonna be short anyways. You know what I mean? Like I didn't really
Yeah,
get
but
it.
you gotta love that TV movie runtime, man. Hour 14, hour 12,
Felt
something like
good.
that.
It
Felt
did.
good.
It really did.
Yeah.
The Night Stalker was the same way. It ended. I was like, fuck Christ, that was an hour.
Yeah. It moves, and it has to because
Yeah.
of what Mike said, because you're smashed in between commercials
But
and other
what-
programming.
What
so-
I will say, though, I think this movie is one of the deficiencies of it is I feel like the made-for-TV hurt it in the fact that some of the stories felt like there could have been more fleshed out. Like every single story in this has like a moment where it's like, all right, clearly this is the point where creativity stops and it's just about runtime. So we're going to cut the story down and the twist happens right here. Boom, bang, boom, wrap it up in a
Yep.
bow. Next one. Whereas Night Stalker, which I just, like I said, recently watched, like that one didn't have that. That one felt really fluid, really nice. Like,
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
flowed well.
But
Yeah,
also-
you're cutting down
also not
a
an
short
anthology.
runtime. You're
also not
cutting
an
down.
anthology. So I think that's what hurt it. Putting the anthology as a TV movie hurt it because you don't get that 90 minutes.
Well, exactly. That's what I was just gonna say. It's like you're cutting it in like 3 parts of an already short runtime
Mhm.
film. So each story only like even Creepshow is probably longer. It's like it drags out. It's all dialogue in a lot of these, and then the last 5 minutes is like the action of the film
Right.
of
See-
each of these almost.
Well,
Except for maybe the last one.
I disagree. I mean, I think for especially for Julia, which is the first story. I'm sorry, that one fucked with me the most.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
well,
a fucked
Chad's
up.
fucking dude. Like that's like textbook. Like
Ted Bundy shit.
fucking how to yeah.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
was
I
like-
think it's because the main villain in it is like the patriarchy. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
it's more than just him.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the whole film is just like
I get what I want. And he just has such a smug
Yeah.
asshole like personality, you clearly see he will go to great lengths to be the biggest piece of shit you can imagine.
And he does it very creepy. Very like I mean,
like
dude,
a Norman
seriously.
Bates kind of style.
But like he's clearly intelligent,
But like
you know what
Ted
I
Bundy,
mean?
yeah.
Like, and he's a good-looking guy, and he doesn't have to do. You clearly know he doesn't have to do this, but he's literally out to destroy this woman's life.
I think it's yeah. It's like a weird like need for control.
Well,
that
he
has
gets off.
that-
He obviously gets off on what he's doing to her. He obviously gets off on like,
absolutely.
which makes what he's doing even more sick and sinister. Even like I don't know, it's already disgusting. Like he's already raped somebody
He's like
and
unapologetic
blackmailing them
about
for it.
Can I
Yeah.
just say something? That the most frightening thing about this this first segment of it is that like it's all stuff that's like shit I've heard about in the news.
Right?
Like
Yeah.
none of it is
Exactly
like
how I
out, like
felt.
now it's gone crazy. It's just like nope, heard that story. Nope, my friend told me that happened to her. Like, you
Yeah.
know, like it's all bad shit that
Yeah.
like has happened
It's
to
very
your neighbor.
realistic. No, it's very realistic.
Yeah.
That's why it fucked with me.
I do think we should give a play-by-play on these stories so the
Yes.
audience knows what's fucked
Let's
up.
do it.
Because we just right now going off of your plots with Mike, and these are so short. I think a play-by-play would actually be pretty fast.
All
So,
right.
like, basically, what it is Chad sees it opens with Chad and his buddy sitting on a bench.
Like yeah, and the first key to like the tone of this film is that they're like they're not mocking women, they're
Catcalling?
rating women.
Yeah,
They're
Yeah.
just like that one's hot, that one's hot, that one's fucking ugly. Like they're
Mhm.
saying horrible things.
That's
And
true,
right off the
yeah.
bat you're just like, oh,
Whoa.
these fucking dicks.
yeah.
And you don't even think they're gonna be like main guys, but as we see, like
As we see, the teacher walks by, Karen Black walks by, and Julie, and they make a remark basically. Chad makes a remark. I'd like to see what she looks like with her clothes off.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the remark he makes. And then he goes to class and she's in there and she's kind of like a dorkish kind of character. And he basically talks her into going on a date with her. And then when he goes on the date, he fucking drugs her.
Yeah.
She passes out. He rapes her. And he also his hobby, which is mentioned early on, is photography.
Yep.
He takes pictures of himself raping her. And then when she comes to, drops her off. And the next day blackmails her.
Right.
And
To be a
like a
sex
slave.
Yeah. Basically, be his
The fucking,
slave.
Let me tell you something about this. This is also why it's hard for me to believe that this movie was made for TV because this stuff is so fucking horrific and
The
terrifying.
70s, bro. How many cult films we got to review to know?
Yeah, but on
this-
TV, like I don't know, dude. TV
It
was
is-
not this crazy because
It seems like it.
the
but-
fucking note. It was the one that's what got me.
Oh, the note. And he just so boldly stands up in the middle of the class, places it on her desk, and sits down. And even the people in class are like, "What the fuck is that about?"
Yeah, you read the note. It's like basically when the class is over, you come home. I have friends that want to meet you, basically. So
Damn.
yeah.
And then
Yeah.
and then the next scene is her coming home like fucking like way late at night. It's like, Jesus Christ, what the hell happened to her?
Exactly.
Yeah. Fucking
Right?
terrible.
What
Te-
you're led to
fucking-
believe is what, gang rape? I would
Yes.
imagine.
Is
That's-
what,
yeah.
it's
It's like-
what I'm only going with, Chris, because this guy's a fucking sleazeball at this point.
Oh,
like,
God, yeah. And she's afraid to go to the cops because
She doesn't want to lose her. She doesn't want to
She's a
lose her
teacher.
tenure. She's a teacher.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to lose her job, and obviously the embarrassment. I'm sure she probably is
Right.
scared about all that. So
yeah.
there's all these things that's factoring her to just kind of keeping quiet, and even her roommate's like, "What the hell's going on? Like, you need to tell me what you haven't been yourself and shit."
and then it goes like, and then this is how it happens in this movie though. But she's in the apartment with him.
Mm-hmm.
They're having this discussion. She hands him a drink, and then she just fucking out of nowhere snaps to and is like, "Well, I've been playing you this whole time."
Yeah, it's like a 180
Oh yeah.
yeah,
like total
huge.
like what?
I'm bored. That's
Yeah.
what she says. I'm bored now.
Yeah. And she is bored. She says she's bored with Chad. Chad takes a drink of his drink, and he's talking like, "What do you mean you're bored? I'm in charge," and blah blah blah. And she's like,
Yeah.
"No, dude. Like I've been letting you do this shit the whole time. Like you don't think I heard you when I walked by you? You wonder what I thought. I would look like naked. Like, and you're gonna die." And he just starts coughing, and he dies.
So here's a question I have because you mentioned something, and it's a question I think I've had with this film always. because it is an anthology of horror films. I've always wondered if there is some supernatural element in play. Did anybody pick that up at all?
Here's the thing. I thought that like she would like
She implies
halfway
that
through it.
she injects that thought into him. Like, cause she's already clearly inside the building
Yes.
when he's like, "I wonder what she'll look like naked," and she repeats that verbatim, and he's like, kind of shocked that she
I did
knows
think,
that he had that
yeah.
thought.
I
And-
did
and
think there was.
That's exactly. I thought it was gonna come on more heavy. Actually, like
Yeah.
even in the middle of the film, I'm like, there was. I think
And that's one.
his
That's
name.
one of the
He
reasons.
gives a name too. What was it?
I thought she just heard good.
That's one of the reasons why I wanted to.
I thought she was gonna be a
I thought
vampire.
she
go
had
back
some
and-
kind of connection, or she had like the ability to like make men do what she
Yes,
wanted, almost like a
that's-
siren kind of a situation.
That's what I thought, and that's why I
Yeah.
was trying to.
Yeah.
I was trying to get around to reading the short story before we started because I wanted to see if it goes into more detail. But I got that vibe.
Yeah, I did too. I feel like she could almost possess a man to do because remember at the beginning of that scene he says, "I don't know why it just popped into my head like I'm suddenly attracted to her."
Yeah.
And to me that led me to believe that she put that thought in his head somehow, possibly supernaturally or psychically.
So there's a scene too, and I'm pretty sure this was the name that he gave. He goes to a hotel with her, and he
Yes.
says, "What's your name?" And he
Right.
says, "I think he says John Harker."
Something like that. Yeah,
Right? And I remember
definitely.
thinking like, isn't that like that's the guy from Dracula? And I was like, oh, she's good. And immediately I was like, oh, she's probably gonna be a vampire.
Mm.
And then at the end, like for anyone who hasn't seen it or whatever, like she doesn't like show fangs or anything like that.
No.
She poisons him, and he fucking.
yeah.
She sets the body on fire.
He starts at
Yeah.
he does. I will say this: he does one of the most like disturbing sounding performances of somebody like choking on
Oh
their
yeah,
own.
yeah. I was like,
vomit.
that's
It's
probably
like,
how it is.
You know what's crazy about
I'm
that?
like,
That's fucking
Jesus
disgusting. So it's probably how it
Christ.
really happens.
I think I read that was her husband at the time.
Oh,
Her
okay.
real life husband.
Oh
Okay.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Chad
well,
was.
Convincing vomiter.
yeah. But yeah, like you're
That's
right.
what we're rating it
She's
tonight.
definitely. I think the ending does show at least some. Like I mean, it's vague, but that she does have the power to lure men in a way.
Yeah.
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 And I thought like maybe then I was like, is that like what a succubus does? I don't know. That's like kind of like
Or
a-
that's kind of what I
No,
was
I
trying
think
to
she's
say.
just-
Succubus.
I think she's just a serial killer. I mean, she has that book of collections
It's
of people
true.
that she's killed. Like,
clipping
Yeah.
out the death
I
headlines.
think
that's-
she's
and-
just an
but the-
insane serial killer and thinks like,
The thing
I'm
that I
letting
was,
you do these things to me because I'm trapping you.
the thing that I
Like-
that I took that was actually I took her book as also another indication of some sort of supernatural thing because it seemed like she had moved around a lot, and I'm trying to put this together in my head. Like, okay, has she been moving around the last few years, or is this like going back a long fucking time or some shit? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I do think maybe it is some sort of vampire thing. After we're done, I'm going to read the short story and fucking finally see if there's some clarification for
No,
crying out
and
loud.
let's talk about one other thing with the ending too. Okay, so the line where she says "I'm bored,"
Yes.
right, leads me to believe that the whole reason she would put her like she could have killed him at any point in time, right? Like she could kill him on the first date, like
Yeah.
right, but she doesn't. So she enjoys. Was the impression that we're getting that she enjoys being abused?
I don't know. That's one thing that I couldn't figure. That's also another thing. I'll say that's one thing I didn't like about this story because it was like I'm like, well, in the end, it's like both are kind of villains, and it like
Yeah.
But here's where I'm also
But
going.
I don't know if that's what it is that you're saying, though. I don't know if it's necessarily her fetish is her being abused or if it's the fetish of just, like, maybe it is. Maybe being controlled.
Like because here's where I'm going with this. There is one part where I'm like, you're sitting here the whole time rooting that this is gonna happen. When that happened, I was like, fuck yes, I hate this guy.
oh, me too.
Like, fuck yeah.
Definitely.
You know? And then she does it, and then there's this scene where like another kid comes to the door. Right? Like this is an
Yeah.
ongoing thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, she has to keep doing this. To which I'm thinking like,
Just lining them up.
wait a second. Is she only doing this to evil people? And since the tone of this film is like, I have no idea what.
That
That
was.
was?
That was
that
like,
some
you?
fucking
that was like the
indigestion right
Zuni
there.
doll at the end.
It's Kyle because he's laughing. He can't stop
That's
laughing.
No.
some fucking indigestion.
No, it was it was his throat,
Someone-
like getting the fucking
Yeah.
carbonation down.
Yeah, let's go
Someone
back.
get that man a fucking Tums.
Sorry, Mike.
No, it's okay. I'll just start over from there. So, like, if the tone of this film is like this idea of like this like oppressive male force that's like taking control of this woman, and then he finally gets comeuppance, and then he dies. Like, is it making the like at one point I'm like, are they making this larger statement that like, yeah, all men are like this? Like I was like, are they trying to make like a really big statement?
No, because
I don't.
Or is this accidental?
I honestly don't think so. I think it might be random, but like depending on the guy, it determines how long her interest is there. Because she makes a comment
so she might have killed that guy immediately if he's like a totally nice dude.
Yeah, because she makes a comment about a previous guy who kept her interested for a long time, but he was very creative. So. Like, I don't know. It leaves it so open to interpretation. It's like, was he creative in like keeping her entertained with like the sex or something? And you know, I think she just kind of picks them at random as they come in.
So she is not like just because she gets justice here.
Yeah,
and that's what we're rooting for the whole time. Do you think she's like that with everybody?
She's the
going after
ultimate,
bad
she's
people?
the ultimate bad. She's the ultimate villain in this film at the end of it. I think
That's how they're presenting it.
That's how they're presenting it, and that's what I didn't like about it. That's
Okay.
what I was saying.
Yeah, because because if that's the case, then I'm kind of like,
Yeah,
I mean, but no,
I'm like cool with you killing.
no.
I'm cool with you killing the rapist and like that. But when the book opens up and you see all the other people that could be or could not be innocent,
Okay.
it turns her into the villain rather than the hero.
yeah,
right.
because if one of
And I
the
didn't
next
like
kid that
that.
shows up is
she's
this
a
nice
black
kid,
widow.
and he just shows up, and then she's like, "You're boring. I'm
It's
gonna
a
kill
valid question.
Yeah.
It is a valid question. Like, does she only kill people who are pieces of shit?
No.
No, she doesn't. So she is the villain, I
She
guess.
is.
But because they show
that's supposed to
you
be
how
the
much
twist.
she's taken advantage of by, Chad, like, it makes you root for her. So I guess that is kind of, I mean, that's
Yeah,
kind of
it's-
polarizing.
It really fucks with audience's
Yeah.
perception because you're as an audience you want this piece of shit to die, and then you find out that he actually wasn't like he wasn't completely
'Cause
the worst
here's the
because
thing.
this woman's been just murdering people left and right.
It's just they're both pieces of shit. Is how it ended, and that's how it just makes you
Well,
feel like meh.
And because like there's another horror anthology VHS that does a very similar story to this, right? Like it's like the three guys, they pick up that girl and she's like a Catwoman and ends up killing them all, right? But like they're pieces of shit too, and they
Yeah.
And in that film, it's kind of more like these assholes stumbled upon. But like there was also that creature kind of gave an impression that it might not kill a nice person. Like
I
that,
think,
like it just stumbled upon the wrong motherfucker to fuck with. This one makes it seem like she's the predator.
yeah, and I think that's something I feel like I've seen that in storytelling in movies or TV before, where it's just the asshole who thinks they're the predator, but they actually are the prey, and they get their comeuppance for being such an asshole.
Super common.
And it
I think.
might be just kind of the thing that they were going for with this, but I feel like because they added the clippings to show that she's killed multiple times before, to Cody's point, I agree, it kind of takes that power away. Now, it didn't say here's a woman who is like, actually I'm more intelligent than you, and I can see past all this shit and get out of it, and you know what I mean? Like it ruins it, takes that away.
Yeah, it's like sorry. I
There you
just
go.
lost
No,
it.
it's just like that,
It's just
dude.
like that. It's like
fucking
empty.
crazy, isn't
No,
it?
I was gonna say it's like you get a piece of shit that gets killed only to find out that there's like a bigger piece of shit out there.
Yes,
So
yes.
it's like
Which
so
kind of kills like the end does kill this story. Like the end of this kills this one. It's really good up until the end, and then when the end happens in this film, and the twist, it's like, God damn
Well, like
it!
no,
Like,
the very end kills.
the
it.
very end.
Yeah, I don't want to say because the
twist is
end
cool.
was great.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh, wait a second.
I
Yeah.
agree. Next, we have Millicent and Therese. That's the next story.
Yes.
Therese or Therese?
Therese. Millicent and Therese.
But yeah, that's the next one. This was my least favorite one out of the three.
Like I said, boy, don't remember this one in the fucking
I
slightest.
don't think anybody does.
I mean, I remember it.
Jesus.
I remember it, but this is where, and then and this is if you don't know at the beginning that Karen Black is going to be in all these.
I didn't know that.
This is where you kind of are like, oh wait, what are they doing here? You know,
No, it took me a second. I was like, "Is that Karen Black?" And then I was like, "It sounds like her." And then I kind of looked on Wikipedia because I was like, "Okay, what's going on here?" And then this is the point where I realized that she was actually
it's
in
on the
all
cover
all three stories.
Right.
Like
I
I
mean,
didn't
it's on
know
the
that was going to
cover
be a
art.
thing.
It's all the cover art.
It's the only thing running these stories together is the fact that she's in all of them.
But I will also say it's also the moment when you realize like they're not really bringing out many other people than her, are they?
No.
Because
no.
this is like, and this is one problem that I have not only in this one but even the next story is there is a lot of talking on the phone at just Karen Black doing talking and no one on the other end. Like you're just hearing her respond and her
Yeah.
pausing
Mhm.
and just being like, but no. And then the whole time I'm thinking like, some of these responses feel like they're improvised. Is she just making this shit up as she
I think
goes
she
along?
was. I
So
think she
was.
was. She
I
even
agree.
tripped up once or twice. In
Yeah.
that
Yeah, there's
long-
like
yeah,
times where she's
yeah.
like, well, no, I don't want, like, well, yeah, the movies. No, the movies, like that. And I'm just like, feels like some line that somebody wouldn't write. Like she's just
Yeah, I feel like
improving it.
this is a victim of the times.
Yeah.
You know, even like you look at any horror movies of the 70s and shit, man, there are scenes of just talking, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of slow burns, but
yeah.
it when it works well in a feature, it's because you have a feature that's surrounding those talking parts that keeps the energy going. When you're dealing with basically you got 15 minutes to get your story in and out, like I think you got to cut those scenes.
These are
and-
this-
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like there's not even another person on the like normally they
no,
would cut,
I understand
yeah.
that. Yeah, I understand.
But
What
and
you're
on
saying.
she's
this
giving
one-
the pause
Yeah.
for the response, which could have been another actor speaking,
Right.
Yeah,
and maybe not cut that much into the timeline.
I think it's just like
But-
it's investing more.
Yeah.
More. My criticism. I think they invested more time into character development in each story than
They had time for.
they had time for.
I agree.
yeah,
you know, and you
yeah,
could
no,
have-
I 100%
You
agree.
could have streamlined it and like that's the thing with. I mean, it's a fine line you have to walk, right? Because there are plenty of anthologies where they give zero. I think we had some criticism about that in a previous one where they give zero character development and just like, I don't fucking care.
Yeah,
Kill him.
yeah.
Fucking kill that person.
Hmm.
But like in this story specifically, it's just like way too much fucking time
Well,
is given. It's
Mhm.
like
It's
God
way,
damn.
it's way too much time given for what the twist is going to be because it's like a couple minutes in and you know.
So I was gonna say, like, I from the beginning, I was like,
Yeah.
all right, so the sister that we're not seeing, that's her twin. Like, it's gonna be the same fucking person. Like,
See, I didn't pick
split
that.
personality disorder or something. Like, I feel like Tales from the Crypt did this story a couple of times. Like,
I didn't pick it up. I didn't pick it up from the first because keep in mind the story just opens from one character's perspective. But it was when we flipped to the other character's perspective. That's when I was like, right away, I was like, oh, okay, there's no one else behind that door right now.
Yeah.
like because but at the first I had no reason to suspect. I was like, whatever, it's just one person's perspective.
this is where this movie turned into just a straight fucking drama for me. Like, the horror was totally lost on
Yeah,
this.
for
I
sure.
agree.
This one.
This one felt the most TV to me. Also, I would say it felt like a
Yeah.
soap opera.
Yep.
Even though the way that it was shot, because the boyfriend, I'm guessing the boyfriend of Therese shows up. I don't know who he's supposed
Some
to
guy
be.
she went on a date with, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
and so Millicent is like yelling at him for going out with her. And it's like, look at all these books. She has witchcraft books and Satanist books and kids books.
She's a demon.
She's got everybody poops.
She got
These-
Dr. Seuss in this motherfucker.
Yeah. One.
She's got like 3 of the Twilight
Green
books, but
green
like
eggs
not
and
the first
ham?
one, which is weird. I didn't
Green
even know
eggs
how it
and
starts.
ham. That's clearly more
Yeah.
advanced than she is prepared for.
She was Harry Potter. That's about the devil.
Fucking
weird.
large print.
She has a time machine. She goes forward in time and collects books about sorcery and
Yeah.
Harry Potter's
She's
novels.
crazy. My sister's crazy.
Yeah.
And I knew right from the get go, and it was like it was her writing in their journal a lot, and then just a voiceover, and or on the phone with the doctor, who you're like, okay, I know this doctor knows what's going on too, but he's trying. So they wrote it so hard for him not
What, a
to
frog?
reveal anything. You can, yeah, it was a frog that you can tell in his
Reddit.
dialogue as he's saying.
Like, he
you-
wrote it for what? Sorry, say that again.
You can tell the way they wrote his dialogue that they're trying to avoid him saying that
Yes.
that she has a split personality so hard.
Right.
Yeah,
yeah.
that
it's
you
just-
can tell.
and they don't do like simple. I mean, there are simple things they kind of could have done. Like Psycho gets away with it by having Norman like go in a room and talk to his mother, despite the fact. And you're like, well, the mother's there, and then it becomes a surprise. Like,
Mhm,
like.
Yeah.
But in this one, they don't even try to like
They keep
divert
those
your
two
attention away
separated.
from it. Like, isn't it weird that they're not in the other room, guys? is it weird? Is it weird that we haven't seen him in the same room yet?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
it's almost like they want to give it away.
Yeah.
And
But this is 75. We have to remember, not all this. Like,
The second was earlier than
Yeah, but
75.
hold
I
on,
know, but
dude.
it wasn't oversaturated. Like, we've seen so much that we can see this shit coming a mile away. Whereas, like, in 75, that might have been like a big Shyamalan twist.
No,
dude.
it
know.
probably did play pretty well in 75.
You
Let's be honest. Yeah, absolutely. I think so. And I might cut this next part out because I'm not speaking from knowledge here. But I mean, do you think this movie plays to like 70s like fears and misunderstandings of like mental disorders? That's what I feel like the horror element of this movie is, because I was trying to wrap my head around like what part of this is scary to audiences in 1975.
Yeah, I mean, I think so.
And it might be like, like split personality is terrifying in 75. Like, you know?
Yeah, and the fact that we don't understand. I mean, in 75 too. I guess we could say that people don't understand what we know about.
I wouldn't say like the mass public understands it. It's more of like kind of like, it's not as grounded in facts as it is today as it is
There was
in
a lot more
75.
mystery then.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
thank you.
if
More
somebody was like
mystery.
double personality nowadays, would be like, all right, we know like this, we know about this now.
Real
I
Grey
don't
Garden
know.
situation.
I
Real
don't
Grey
know.
Garden situation.
Yeah,
really
kind
saying.
of, I guess.
I
I didn't get that. I got that the doctor was actually it
Yeah.
was more of like this is a legitimate curiosity. This is like a great test study.
He's the mad
Great-
scientist.
Well, I think he's taking, if anything, he's trying to perpetuate the opportunity to study and observe this rare, this such an, as he puts it in the movie, such an advanced form of split personality.
Right.
Like, and do you not get the impression when the first visit happens that the way the dialogue is, where he's not revealing anything, he is actually concerned, like, oh, she's going off the deep end. I better go,
No,
investigate this further. This doesn't look like it's going in a good direction.
Right.
Because then he goes to the house, and then again, you're like, he's hiding something. And then when the reveal happens, you can tell it's like, oh, he's been trying to like stop her from killing herself or something like that.
Yeah, I did get that.
I did get that impression. So I don't want to think that it's because like a doctor just being like, I don't give a fuck what happens to her.
Yeah,
No, I don't think that's either.
Still
I
paying
think
the
they
bill, I
just
don't
tried
care.
so hard to write around
Yeah.
Yeah.
revealing the twist,
And
which is
I think ultimately by doing so, they've made a boring fucking story.
Yeah,
I agree.
this was
All it was.
the
And then
dialogue,
like the thing I thought was the most bizarre in this whole story was like, well, we got to throw a little bit of voodoo in here to like get it into the horror category or something. It's just like, what?
Well, I
a
feel like
voodoo
all these
doll?
stories
Like-
have a little touch of that now.
Well,
now,
yeah,
you know,
but it felt so out of place in this one. It was just
yeah,
like,
especially when you
how
realize
else do you
that-
commit suicide, Kyle?
Well, that's the thing. That's the only way. Like when they do that, like it's for me, it didn't have a spirit like a supernatural.
No, it didn't
reasoning
feel
at
at
all.
all.
At all. You're just like, oh, this was just some kind of like weird thing.
this is
she
a weird
did.
way to kill him.
But
to
like
kill
even
his
when
hair
that
itself.
happened and she was doing that with the doll, I'm like, she's gonna kill herself. Like
Yeah, exactly. But what's funny is this one has like some sort of object of like supernatural, right?
yeah.
In it, and I felt like the
Or-
first story had more of a supernatural vibe, and it doesn't even hint at that.
Or did
so-
it not? Or did it not have a supernatural vibe? Or are they saying that she believes so much that she was killing her sister with the voodoo doll that she somehow tricked her mind and body into killing herself?
I mean, that's well, I don't
Yeah.
know.
So it's a
Yeah.
possibility.
if it's that powerful of a mind.
I
Yeah, I
think-
mean,
Yeah.
come on, look at the end of Revenge of the Sith. Like, why did Padme die?
We don't know.
No reason. She
No
gave
reason.
birth to healthy kids, and she just died. You know, who knows?
No reason. We don't know. There's a and
But it-
there
Well,
was
There was
would've
a
been
there was a
weird-
joke in there. I was hoping I'd get some laughter.
Well, I was
from
hoping right
someone.
after that there was a shot of Voodoo Doll with like a little tiny lightsaber. That'd have been weird.
That's the Emperor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that taken care
How
of.
do you like that? The Force. That's the dark side for you.
I don't know. That's kind of how I took it.
Force
That's
doll.
actually how I took it. Was like I was like, oh, she.
I
like-
just took it as
because there was no
legitimately-
wound. There was no wound. There was no
there's
blood.
there's never a wound with a voodoo doll.
There should be.
No, there's
Yeah.
not going to be like a hole that appears.
It's like yeah,
What,
it's like
does the
stigmata, bro.
whole scale up for size? Like if
It's-
it's
yeah.
a pin needle here on a
Yes.
doll, when you become large size, does that become like a 7-inch
Yeah.
hole in your chest?
I
Yeah,
don't
it
know. What was
does.
that one
Yeah.
movie?
No.
Like I
Yeah.
feel like there was a
It
movie
works for
where like
scale.
somebody got a doll and like snapped it in half. The dude's like back snapped it in
Yeah.
half.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't it? The Witches of Eastwick.
No, it's Weekend at Bernie's 2.
No, which is an Easter egg. Do that
Yeah.
to Jack Nicholson's character, and like he doesn't get like wounds. He's just like fucking erratic and shit.
Yeah, it doesn't isn't there one where like it's like it snaps
comparing this to
somebody in
witches and
half?
Easter eggs.
No, we're just comparing other possibilities of how voodoo
I
think
would
voodoo-
physically.
Listen,
Yeah.
I mean,
I
there's-
wouldn't mind seeing
yeah.
some blood if somebody got poked. You know, like a voodoo doll. Like that'd be fine if some blood was coming out
Yeah.
of a body.
But like that's what I'm saying. At no point in time do I feel like the voodoo doll in any way had anything to do with her death.
I think it was
Maybe
just
not,
the mind.
Maybe not.
I
yeah.
think it was just the mind.
She
She
kills
thought-
herself.
The thought of her killing herself by using the doll
Yes.
was so strong that she actually died.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes,
Okay.
that's what
I
you
mean,
were saying.
yeah, like as a catalyst, like it's reflecting what her intent
You know,
is.
you know
Yeah.
what that's called,
Yes.
Mike? That's called great writing.
You know what? It is.
Next, we
Look out,
Move-
Stephen King.
Moving on.
next we have Amelia.
Yep.
That's the next story that comes up. And this is the one that everyone talks about, which I don't know why.
What?
No, I'm just
Wait,
kidding. That's
what?
a joke.
I was like,
That's
I
a
was
joke.
like, oh,
if you're gonna talk about one,
because I haven't seen the memes.
yeah.
Chris, we discovered this. I don't know why everybody's talking about it because I haven't seen the memes. Okay.
Well, I guess the memes are everything.
Yeah. No. If there is gonna be one to remember, it is this one. And before we get to it, I'll just say my favorite ending to one also. Yeah, Chris. I don't care what you say. You can give weird looks.
I want to hear through your.
Let's talk through it,
Yeah,
and then we'll get to
yeah.
it.
We'll talk through it. So basically, what it is Amelia. She gets off the elevator and she walks into her apartment with a wooden box.
Yeah.
And then opens it up and there's a Zuni doll in there, as what we're told.
Zuni fetish doll.
He who
Fetish doll.
kills,
Fetish doll.
right?
A hunter.
Yeah,
Like it's the
like a
and-
soul is trapped in
yeah, like as she explains it, the soul gets trapped, and there's a rule. It's kind of like a gremlin rule, like don't take off the necklace, or the spirit will come and it'll just awaken the doll or some shit.
He
Like
who kills.
yeah,
there. Now, and this one has a lot of talkie in it too,
Yeah.
because she's on the phone with her mom for what
it's
feels
pretty
like an
much how
eternity.
She's
the
on the
only
phone with
way
her
that
mom,
they
with
move the
her
story along.
boyfriend.
Did anybody else
Back with her mom.
think that whole segment was one shot? Like, I feel like that was like maybe
It
several minutes
Felt
of
like
a
it.
one shot.
Felt like it.
It felt like it.
Which would be pretty impressive because
Yeah.
that would make her very good at remembering dialogue. Because if this is like, there's a
Or,
shitload of dialogue.
As I
in
said,
this.
she was just ad libbing the whole thing.
or that. And
Like
she-
there's a
well,
part of me that
if
feels
that's
like
the
she
case-
could have just been hitting.
I feel
points.
like I feel like there are long takes. I wouldn't call it one shot because like when she goes to the bathroom and she takes a shower
Takes
and
a
she
big old
comes out.
dump.
Oh yeah.
Hold on, Mom. I have
That's
to take
it.
a massive shit. I'll be right back.
I've got the bubbly guts.
and it still doesn't jump cut. It's just like her, just like you hear
Still on the phone with her mom. I know I can't leave
She's
you,
on the
mother.
toilet.
Mom,
the
Mom,
knife comes under
Mom,
the
I'll
door.
be right there, Mom.
Yeah, sorry.
Mom, just one second.
I just ordered. I just went to Sears and ordered a cordless. Okay, so
The thing is that the whole mom conversation too is very much like a Willard situation.
I never saw that. So
It's where it's like the abusive mother and like, how could you leave me? I'm gonna die without you. Kind of like fucking scenario
Like
that's
Psycho?
going on. Psycho 2, yeah.
Putting all his guilt on her.
Yeah, like all
Yeah.
this weird like guilt. But the mother's not. Well, we don't know if the mother's dead. I was some point.
Ooh.
I was asking myself,
Nah.
is she really talking to someone on the other
Yeah,
end?
she is. I think she
Yeah.
definitely is.
I think so.
I mean,
I think this
Is
is probably
she-
the most straightforward.
Yeah,
like,
no,
Yeah.
At the end, yeah, I got that. But at first, as I was watching it, because it's so like, no, I still love you, mom. You're no, I
Nah, it
just,
just
I'm just
sound-
here
it
for-
just
it's just a
sound-
sublease. Like that made me think like, is the mom? Because again, I don't know what I'm getting into in this movie. Is the mom real or not? You know what's going on here.
No, I think that honestly, I just took it as they're just trying to show us how controlling the mother is, and even though she doesn't even live with mom anymore, she still has to like follow mom's rules and mom's requests and shit like that. You know.
They are trying to show you that, and I don't know why. Like, what
What
purpose does
yeah.
it serve to her character in this story, and how does it relate
is
to
a-
what happens?
This is another point where putting time into character development when it's not needed, it doesn't benefit the
Yeah,
film in
because there
any
was
way.
no real. I mean,
There's no payoff for
y-
her
you
to
know,
be like that.
trying to put together the backstory and stuff like that. It did seem weird because I was like, it's not like she's not supposed to be there. You know, like it would have made sense if the whole question is like, why doesn't she just leave the apartment? Or why,
Yeah.
you know? Oh, it's because she has a controlling mother and she can't leave. Like, why doesn't Norman go off and become a nice person?
Right.
The mother is keeping him there. She's super overbearing. He has to do these things. He has to do her bidding. And then that becomes the killer at the end.
Mhm.
In this, it's like, that never happens.
Yeah.
She's just a controlling mom. And it's like, I guess we're supposed to gather that she escaped from her house finally. And she's super shy. It like I that's the only thing I could think of was it was trying to explain why she didn't already have a boyfriend or
zero
something.
benefit to this film. It
Yeah.
added zero benefit to this story.
Yeah, it just seemed like it was a new boyfriend that she was very excited about, and this was unusual for her to maybe have a boyfriend, and the mom was not cool with her not coming. Like, you know, she's breaking tradition, not going over on a Friday night to hang out with her mother, which is probably like maybe her only friend up to this point.
Like, I'll give
know?
a good example of talking on the phone with mom. Ghostbusters. Sigourney Weaver takes that call with her mom. That's how this movie should have went.
Yes.
It's a very one-sided conversation, and Sigourney's like, no, yes, what, okay, bye, I'm hanging up now, and then shit happens, and that would have played perfectly. But they put so much energy into being like, oh, there's a story here, there's a backstory here. It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
What if it was like, how many minutes do I have in this last film? 15. Okay, can I do doll murdering in all 15? Like, we'll give you 7. Ah, fuck, what am I going to put in that?
Yeah.
I'll just let her talk on the phone. Because, like, that's all that the rest of this film is.
Yeah, no, the end of this film is literally the Zuni doll running around just fucking wreaking havoc.
Yeah,
let's not play that down because
That doll
No,
tears
it's
this shit
amazing.
up.
Yeah.
this is the most iconic part of this whole film, I would say.
I
and,
loved
you know,
every bit of
and
it.
I think if anything's gonna make this film anything, it's this last 10 minutes.
I feel like they did such a solid job, even at the very beginning when she first notices the doll is no longer sitting on the table. Like, the suspense they built, because she's like putting her face right up to the couch, like lifting up the flaps, looking under it and shit, looking for this thing. I was like, ooh,
Yeah, we
what's
saw
gonna
this
happen?
used in Child's Play, and I wonder if actually they were inspired maybe a little bit by this
I
because
think this movie was inspired by a movie that came out.
No, I think Child's Play was
I know.
inspired by this movie because like it has the very same feel. Like when the mom's looking for the doll, looking under the couch, like
hearing
it's
the
very
pitter-patter
quiet.
run behind
Yeah,
you.
it's very quiet. You hear the pitter patter. You see the shadows. We're going down the wall. I'm like, dude, I've seen this before.
Yeah.
What I hadn't seen before was the fucking knife under the door shit, which had me rolling. Like, I was laughing my
It's like
ass off.
when your cat is like, and you're going to
Yeah.
the bathroom. Your cat's just like,
It's
let
like-
me in, motherfucker.
You just see a paw,
It's so
paw
true.
come up and like start
Just going-
clawing.
yeah, just going around. No certain way.
I was laughing-
Uncontrollable.
It's like
I
you've
was-
checked this spot already.
I was laughing my ass off though, because I'm like, why is she screaming? Like, the blade's nowhere close to her.
I feel like it's just a situation that deserves screaming.
Well, I
Yeah.
agree with that, but
A doll has come to life with a knife.
And it is not slow. Okay,
No,
the
that's-
doll is not slow.
And
That's dope.
the doll is not weak either. This thing's strong as fuck.
it
man.
can literally jump to doorknobs, turn the doorknob, and open it up in midair. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I was
It's like shoulder slamming. I'm like,
It is.
I was shrieking like this whole time with excitement, like just because I couldn't believe like how to level 10 they pushed
Yeah.
Oh,
the
yeah.
doll. Like every shot was this doll whipping around and this knife swinging around and this horrible just like gremlin slash.
It's
but
a funny sound.
Cody was
Yeah.
making it
It is
earlier
funny as
and
hell.
actually but I didn't think it was actually going to be this intense. Like
Yeah,
with this
and-
little tiny doll.
Dude, because they just start slashing the shit
dude,
out of her.
yeah, the initial cuts, man, it just like goes to town on her legs, and that made me cringe
did.
because
Yeah,
I'm
dude, it
just
did.
like, dude, like I don't know why, but like getting knifed in the legs is something that just makes
Just
me
slice.
cringe,
It's
man.
just
Like, ah.
yeah, it's just slashing her legs like 20 times.
She's
just
like
going
covered in
fucking
blood in the
crazy.
first 5 seconds of the attack. She's just like completely covered in blood.
And she literally hits every fucking room in this apartment.
Dude, I
like,
get-
she
get
hits
the-
every piece of furniture too.
I get
Yes!
I get them
And
saying that
trips.
too. I was like, how many fucking rooms are in this apartment?
How many
Jesus.
goddamn end tables do you need?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's smashing
Oh.
like 3 lamps over this thing, like, and it just when it gets in the suitcase and then starts cutting itself out of the
That part
suitcase.
is fucking great.
Is
Yeah.
fantastic.
And then like they intensify it. People are like, okay, you just go over there and try to like grab
Grab
the
the-
tip
oh.
of the knife.
I'm just like, who does that?
No, but the whole time I'm thinking like, I mean, yeah, that might work if you get it just right.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
just get
If
it
you
real
get it just
quick.
right.
You know,
Nope.
you know what
And
I
you
kept on saying?
samurai hold it.
I was like, go get a pot. I was like, go get a
Pull
pot
it out.
holder. Go get a pot holder.
Yeah.
Get a pot holder.
And when she left,
No.
I thought for sure she was getting like a wrench or something like that. I was like, that's smart. Get some tongs.
Yeah, use some pliers, use some needle nose on
grab
that
those
shit.
motherfuckers.
My biggest fucking gripe, but also like the thing that made me like the most excited was the fact that like not once but twice she traps this thing and then decides to open whatever she trapped it in to see if it's actually dead. And like I'm literally screaming at the screen, why the fuck would
Yes.
you do that? Like leave it in there, get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have baked that doll any shorter than I would have baked a turkey.
Yeah, that's
like,
what I
that motherfucker's
said.
staying in there for like 3
Yeah.
hours.
Did you see all that
Poultry,
black
poultry,
Just waiting. And I'm
poultry,
sitting there.
and
Yeah.
Mystic Doll.
That's also one thing.
12 hours.
I was wondering with the end. I'm like, so the soul's trapped in the oven, but the smoke can get out. Like souls, they're
Yeah.
thicker than smoke. Like,
Yeah.
why?
Well, that's like the weird thing too. And you see something smoke like that, it's on fire.
Yeah.
Like
that-
so, I don't know.
Well,
I took
it
that
did,
more
it
as like the
burned.
spirit leaving the doll almost because
Well, no, it doesn't. The thing burns. It turns to, I believe it just completely turns to ash in there. But what stays alive is
Is
this
the
cloud
spirit?
of the spirit.
Yeah.
And when she
okay.
opens that thing, it just blasts her in
Yeah.
the face.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then we get my favorite ending, which is her calling her mom and telling her mom to come over and hang out. And then it's just her with a fucking machete. Who knows where she got that from?
It's
Yeah, that's what I kept thinking
huge.
too. Like, who the hell owns that knife?
Just fucking squatting in front of the front door, just intimidating as fuck,
Yeah.
banging this knife on the floor and like
Looking
twirling
creepy.
it.
Mhm.
That was like
and then-
fucking
And then she
solid.
smiles. She's
Yeah.
got the same jagged, sharp teeth the doll had.
I'll put that
Yeah.
right up there with
That's the ending of
Evil Dead when you
Yeah.
first see her in the doorway, you know, Ash's girlfriend.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like that has a very iconically creepy look, and I feel like Karen Black rivals it like with this end.
Well,
scene.
it's the same ending as Deadly Friend too. Remember? Because at the end of Deadly Friend, he puts the CPU in the body of the girl, and then she's got the same like crazy face and
That's
shit.
right,
And it's just like
yes.
what?
yeah.
See, the thing that creeps me about it is her posture.
Oh, it's
Like-
it's very tribal.
Oh,
It's very
yeah.
like
Yeah,
it
like she's
is.
like hunched over,
she's, yeah.
and she's like. It almost looks like she's like like she's using a mortar and pestle or like a giant like she's trying to
Yeah.
like grind something, but like she's taking the knife and just jagging it into the ground and taking like shallow cuts.
Destroying those hard.
Oh,
like the
yeah.
neighbors
And I'm
are
just like,
pissed.
looking
Dude,
at her, I was just like, that's fucking.
That's what I said
creepy.
was gonna get it first. I'm like, oh, dude, mom's not first one to die. It's the downstairs neighbor who comes
Yeah.
up and is like, what the fuck are you?
So
Yeah, dude, for real.
Yeah, no. The
The one
second you
thing
walk in and see that fucking face, you turn right back
There is
around.
one thing I couldn't figure out. Did the doll destroy the lock on the door?
I
No,
couldn't
she
figure
ripped
that
it off.
out either.
I couldn't figure that either. No, because
Oh, the way
she
can't
goes
get
to
out.
take
Yeah,
a
I did.
shower, and then she comes out, and the lock's all like fucking
Yeah.
bent and twisted and
Yes,
shit.
the doll did that. It's
That's a
very
strong fucking
Okay.
doll,
Very
man.
strong doll.
Very strong
Yeah.
doll.
Yeah.
Very strong.
Very clever.
Yeah, it's a clever doll.
And you can wield a fucking knife like
Clever
nobody's
doll.
business.
Clever doll.
Dude, it actually did get me a couple times, like on the scare factor. Like, I think there was a part where she opens the door and that thing comes in at 150 miles an
Dude,
hour.
someone fucking hucked that at her.
It was so
Wow.
good. It was like, it was laughable, but also like so exciting.
It
Yeah,
is.
it was
I agree.
great.
No, I agree with
The
that.
energy is like you're right. The energy's at like a fucking 100 in this story.
And the doll they use with the big teeth and like the hair and you know what I
That's
mean?
a creepy looking fucking doll.
Yeah,
is.
it was a creepy doll.
For TV movie,
I mean, don't
could
get
see
me
this
wrong,
terrifying some
like,
kids.
Totally kind of racist.
Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk more about the Trilogy of Terror. Oh, we got to clap.
1, 2, 3.
Can you guys like wait for me to verify that it's fucking recording first?
Yeah, we can do that.
That-
We were just getting
No,
into it.
no, I'm
Wow.
sorry. You before I wanted to give you a fucking code word like rolling so we would know, but you didn't want that, and then you see what happens now.
Well, none.
Do you see what
yeah,
happens now?
Nobody here asked if we're recording. We
Yeah,
just
yeah.
all hit record on the camera.
It's
It's like,
true.
here we go.
It's true. It's true. We just assumed it was ready. Okay.
Well, I
Let
assume,
us know.
I assume it caught that. So
Maybe let us know by saying something
yeah,
like rolling.
I got
or
it at
something.
the very very beginning.
And we're back talking about the Trilogy of Terror. Before we rate this Mammer Jammer, though, one of the things I did want to talk about is Karen Black, because she does play essentially 4 characters in this film.
Yeah.
And I gotta tell you something. She was probably my favorite part of this, as far as that goes. Like,
what other part was
Yeah,
there?
what-
yeah, I mean, true.
She's like the only actor.
That's what I mean. There's a lot on her fucking shoulders riding on
Yeah,
this shit.
yeah.
I think she did. I think she did a pretty good job. I think you saw a great range. I think her best. I would say like my favorite performance is the third story, the Zuni doll. Like just she plays terror really well,
Yep.
and even her that final scene of her where she looks kind of like freaky and shit. She's waiting by the door is like really good. But
Dude, I love that.
I
Yeah.
mean, like I couldn't. I can't be bothered with the second story. Like so what?
Yeah,
All right,
it's
you're
pretty
great at
it's
talking.
Pretty boring.
Like
You're
you didn't
real
bring
boring.
anything else to it, but
I
she
don't
was
know.
good in the first one.
I think she brought some stuff to the second one. It was just what she had to work with.
I think the third one was good. She played terror
first
really
and
well.
the third were really well done. I think.
I could not think of Credence in the second one.
Right?
Yeah.
I know,
So-
right? That's all I
Yeah,
was
the
thinking.
look,
of.
the look
It
of
is
it.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her whole costume and design. But when she played the more promiscuous side versus the other sister, Therese,
Babe.
I feel like that was like the Karen Black we've seen in a lot of other roles, like House of a Thousand Corpses, where she's a little bit of a,
Mhm.
like a promiscuous, like older mother figure. Like she kind of has this like weird, like cat-like sexiness,
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
like the teacher one, like they play her up as more of a, a homely kind of, like you said, a nerd. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Somebody who's not real experienced, but in the second one, she gets to kind of play that more
Yeah, but
confident character.
Yeah,
I
but
think
when she
that
takes
that,
that turn.
But I think that's a good performance, the first one, because you have that twist at the end, and it's just like whoa, like 180, and it's like it's believable, albeit very abrupt when it happens, but I still believed it, and I still thought it was a pretty good performance on her part. I just like, the second story was like, cool, you're playing two characters, and one of them's drunk and hysterical, the other one's like old and meek.
Yeah.
Like the two characters, the sisters' ages did not line up in the slightest.
What do you say we rate this Mammer Jammer?
Let's do
Yeah.
it.
All right, Mike, what are we rating it?
Like Zuni dolls, right? Like
Yeah.
we got to do it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the only thing that makes sense.
Dropped golden necklaces.
So
Oh yeah,
obscure,
I remember
like-
that.
It is a weird way that it comes off of him.
Yeah, she doesn't even knock it up. It
Like,
just
it just
comes
falls
off.
off.
It's like,
Just like-
whoever the asshole is that trapped the spirit and clearly didn't check their work.
Yeah, right. Totally.
Yeah.
Like get us, Anyways, yes.
Yeah,
Zuni dolls.
I'll go first on this one. I'm gonna come in at a 3. I think this is a solid run at an anthology. There's some dips in it, but again, I think I'm giving it a little bit of credit because it is 1975. You know what I mean? And then and finding it out that it is a made-for-TV movie, then you find out there's probably some limitations also that they were going to be held down to. But sometimes it doesn't seem that way. It's very weird in that aspect. But I enjoy the first story in the point that where it just makes me feel ill. Like it made me feel ill. Made me feel gross. It made me feel something at least. So I was pretty cool with that. The second story is what hurts it for me. It's not good. You see the twist a mile away, and it's just like whatever. And then the batshit craziness of the third one brings it back home.
Mm-hmm.
And really boost it up past that 2.5 to give it a 3. But Karen Black's really fun to watch in this, and this is I think the most I've ever seen her act in a movie too, because she usually plays like a side character, and in this she's every character. So 3. You should watch it. It's good. Let's go, Kyle.
I'm also going to come in at a 3 on this one. I enjoyed this film. I agree with you on the stories. I think the second one is the weak link, but I mean it is an anthology film, and compliment sandwich. Something nice, something shitty, something nice. Like, I feel like that's how a lot of anthologies tend to go. You kind of front load, and then you have the front and the back end that are good shit, and you throw kind of the weaker stories in the middle. I think Karen Black's performance throughout the films that she is playing so many different characters was really well done. I agree also. I think the thing that I like the most is that especially that first story really for what a short story it is, it definitely brought out a feeling, and it was a grody feel. It's like, God, fuck this guy, fuck this story. Like, it just like in such a short amount of time did a good job making me pissed off at a character, which I think is a sign of great filmmaking. Overall, I highly recommend this movie. The Zuni doll at the end is like worth it, if not for anything else, because the energy is like ramped up to fucking 1,000, and it is fun. So 3 from me.
Chris.
It hasn't been said in a while. This got a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I'm calling too high on that. This movie for me did not live up to
Really?
what I wanted it to
That's
be.
the first time well, you haven't said this ever on the show. I'm challenging the great Rotten Tomatoes.
Here's what we're saying. No, but we haven't
too
said it.
high.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
Oh, we had to get the.
That's what I was looking
the
for.
old Cody
Yeah.
spin on
I can't pull it off like you can, Cody. So I'm glad you popped in on that. But I do think this is scored way too high. The first two for me are pretty boring. The first one, I understand what you're saying, the grody feeling that you get from it and all that. But as far as like it being a memorable film, the only thing I'm probably really gonna take away from it is that last segment. Like I feel like that was a lot of fun to watch, and you know it's definitely what puts the stamp on this film, especially as a cult film. The other two are, you know, they're okay additions, but honestly, yeah, it's like somebody just, you know, let Karen Black just, you know, run with these long monologues and shit. Nothing really fucking happens, like for most of the segments up until, you know, like the very end. The first one I'll give you is a little bit better than the second, but the third is what really makes the film. I'm coming in at a 2.5 because I did have a lot of fun talking about this. I was originally going to do a 2. But that last segment just really saves it for me. It really it gives you something to talk about and something, you know, like I will admit, like my mood boosted, you know, the second that doll started whipping around the apartment. I was like, okay, this is awesome. This is what everybody talks about. So thank God for that segment. The other two, kind of boring, honestly. Karen Black, she's strong in some parts, weak in other parts. There's really not a lot of the other characters in this film. You know, it seems like a pretty like small production. So 2.5 Zuni dolls for me. Definitely check it out at least once for that last segment.
Mike?
I'm also going to give it a 3. I think I liked the first one a little bit more maybe than Chris did. I agree. I thought it was... See, but here's the thing. I didn't think it was like terrifying.
No, it's definitely not.
It's more like
Disgusting.
anger inducing.
yes.
So I feel like this should be called like, you know, like a double feature of terror and like a side of fucking anger. Maybe we can call it that. I don't know. Like, yeah, but second one I can see it being like a horror, like a terrifying thing. The third one, straight horror, right? And you're right. I mean, the second segment of this film is a big gaping hole in it. But yeah, the first one there's a lot to be had from it just because it's so creepy and like it kind of feels like it comes from a real place. And then the third one is just because again, doll attack is it's just like on adrenaline, man. Like that thing is moving. It's fucking, if I was being chased by that, I'm like, I'm fucking dead, man.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way I'm getting away from this thing.
Hopefully it kills me quickly.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. No, it won't. That knife's too small, and it's too small. It doesn't have the strength.
You're like tossing at bigger knives. Like, use that one.
Come on, just fucking chop a head off or something. Anyways, yeah. So I'm done.
That's 3 for Mike.
That's good.
That is our show this week. But before we go, we do have a shout out to do.
I'll read it if I can pull it up.
All right. Before we get into it, it's kind of funny. It's a really nice review, but they gave us 1 star. It's really very confusing.
Wait.
It's a 1 star?
It's a 1 star, but it's a
All right. Yeah, I've got a review here. This one comes from the unofficial regular guy. It is a 1-star review, and the title is Good Times. And his review reads, I really enjoy the podcast. I've heard you cover several movies from my childhood. When the guys talk about walking through the video store aisles and seeing box art, it brings a lot of memories back for me. I would love to hear you cover Eliminators. Don't worry, I have thought about that movie quite a bit.
I
We
own
have
it.
it.
I
own
own
it.
Yeah, I own it as well.
Eliminators?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the one with that's the one with the dude has tank legs.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know this one.
Time travel, ninjas, and a mandroid. Oh, he's describing Eliminators. Yes. I would love to. I'm going to read that one again. I would love to hear you cover Eliminators, time travel, ninjas, and a mandroid. Yes. Pure cheese, but wouldn't have it any other way. Anyway, keep it up. Thanks. So, it's a real harsh 1-star review, I'd say.
Yeah, man.
I think
He really tore us up.
I think he got confused. I think he got confused, but I'll take it.
I'll
A
take
review's-
a review is a review.
beautiful
A review's a
review.
review.
I mean, it's a nice
It's
the nicest
a-
one-star review I think we've ever gotten.
or we'll
Yeah.
ever get.
If that's what
Probably
one
the-
stars
I
look
mean, we're
like-
not going to do your movie, so
No.
fuck you. But no, just joking. No, it was a really nice review.
Yeah. Thank you, the unofficial regular guy, and also thank you for the request.
Yeah, thank you very much. Like I said, guys, that's our show for this week. Remember to follow us on social media at cultfilm_review on Twitter, cultfilm_in_review on Instagram, also on Facebook. You can follow Chris. No, fuck Chris. I don't want to do Chris first.
What are you doing?
He
What
got
are you doing?
confused.
He
I
got
don't
he
know.
got confused.
go
Did you
around
say
in circles.
everything correct?
All right, guys, that's our show for this week. Do us a favor. Head over to iTunes, leave us a review. We'll give you a shout out at the end of the show. Then check out cultfilminreview.com. Put in your request for movies for us to review. And then, follow us on social media.
.com.
Where were we? Do we need to start over? No, I'm
No.
just kidding.
That's at.
Can we just cut? And he died that day.
That was the last time, Cody.
Episode of Cult Film Review ever.
193.
What's the line like? Nobody ever talked about what happened that day.
Nobody ever talked
The
about
sisters never bothered Andy Dufresne again.
it. Say Watanejo.
Here we go.
Maybe one day I'll see my friend again.
I just want my friend back.
Some men just want to see the world burn.
What is that shit? What are you doing?
Sounds like something from Mission Impossible right
No,
there.
that's-
Follow us on social media at cultfilm_review on Twitter, cultfilmreview on Instagram. You can also follow us on Facebook. You can follow Kyle at.
You can follow me on Instagram at cultfilm_Kyle.
You can follow Chris at.
Cultfilm_Chris on Instagram.
You can follow Mike at.
At Mike Salustio on Twitter.
And you can follow me at VHS Collect on Instagram and Snapchat. That's our show for this week. Remember, if you're going to join a cult, make sure they watch good movies. We'll see you next time.
Nacho fries. I'm reading his script.